Sports in America are almost like a religion. Every weekend, stadiums fill with fans, cities light up in team colors, and entire communities rally behind a shared love for the game. And for decades, four sports have ruled over all the others: football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. Together, they make up what people call the Big Four of American sports. But what does that really mean today? Are those still the top four sports in the country? And will they always be? Because lately, there's been a growing question: could another sport, maybe soccer, be rising fast enough to join or even replace one of them? In this video, we're going to break down the Big Four, where they stand, how they compare in popularity and growth, and which sport might be ready to crash the party. When people talk about the Big Four, they're talking about the leagues that have defined American sports culture for generations. The NFL for football, the NBA for basketball, Major League Baseball for the national pastime, and NHL for hockey. Each of these leagues represents more than just a game. They're institutions. They've built massive fan bases, billion-dollar media deals, and decades of traditions. They've woven into the country's calendar and culture, from the Super Bowl to opening day to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Football dominates Sundays and national television ratings. Baseball fills long summer afternoons. Basketball owns the winter months and thrives on social media. And hockey, while smaller in scale, still commands fierce loyalty, especially in northern cities and pockets of diehard fandoms. Together, these four built an entire sports economy, one that drives TV deals, merchandise sales, and massive city economies. But like all industries, they're evolving. Some are growing faster than others, and a few are fighting to hold on to their old ground. Let's start with the obvious question: which of the Big Four is actually the biggest today? Without a doubt, number one is football. The NFL is a ratings monster. In 2024, the league averaged around 17.5 million viewers per game. The Super Bowl drew a staggering 123 million US viewers, making it the most watched television event in American history. Every Sunday has essentially become a national holiday for football fans. And what makes the NFL so powerful is its scarcity. Just one game per week per team, meaning every game feels like an event to your team. Add in fantasy football, gambling, and media coverage that never stops, and it's easy to see why football rules the landscape. But football isn't without challenges. Player safety continues to be a concern, especially around concussions. And unlike basketball or soccer, it hasn't caught on as strongly around the world. Still, in America, nothing comes close to its cultural dominance. Next up, basketball. And the NBA might be football's most realistic rival in terms of growth potential. While the NBA doesn't draw quite the same TV numbers domestically, it's the most global of the Big Four sports by far. Stars like LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Giannis Antetokounmpo are household names not just in the US, but around the world. The NBA Finals pull in around 11 to 12 million viewers per game, but the league's real power lies online. NBA content dominates social media. It's built for highlights, viral dunks, game winners, and iconic moments, and the younger audiences love it. The NBA also has a big future internationally, especially in Asia and Africa. Basketball has a lower barrier to entry because all you need is a ball and a hoop, and that accessibility helps grow fast globally. The league's challenge will be keeping domestic fans as engaged as international ones. And then there's baseball, the sport that used to be America's clear number one. Major League Baseball still draws strong attendance, with millions of fans showing up at ballparks every year. It's a summer tradition and a nostalgic heartbeat for many American cities. But when it comes to national attention, baseball has slipped. Its audience is aging, and its long, slow pace can struggle to compete in a world of TikToks, highlights, and shorter attention spans. To its credit, MLB has tried to modernize the sport, with new rules to speed up the game that have helped because games are shorter, offense is up, and attendance has actually increased in some markets. But it's an uphill battle to capture the same national buzz that it once had. Finally, there's hockey. The NHL might be the smallest of the Big Four, but has something that the others lack: incredibly loyal fans. The energy of playoff hockey is unmatched, and the Stanley Cup is one of the hardest trophies to win in all of sports. Still, hockey has its limitations. It's expensive to play, geographically limited, and less accessible for new fans. Regular season games average about 500,000 viewers, which is far below the other major leagues. But its fans are passionate, and that keeps it alive and thriving in its niche. If we had to rank the Big Four in overall popularity today, the order would look like this: football first, basketball second, baseball third, and hockey fourth. But popularity is only half the story. The other half is growth potential. Which sport has the brightest future ahead? Let's start with the NFL game. It's hard to grow when you're already at the top. Football's ceiling is high, but it's also close to being maxed out. Almost everyone in America who wants to watch football already does. And with concerns about player safety and youth participation declining, long-term growth could slow down. Still, the league is diversifying, pushing into global markets like Germany and Mexico and expanding its digital reach, so the NFL isn't shrinking anytime soon. The NBA, on the other hand, might have the biggest growth potential of any of the Big Four. It appeals to younger audiences, it has an international fan base, and its connection to modern pop culture already make it incredibly scalable. The NBA is basically a lifestyle brand as much as a sports league, and that is powerful in today's world. Baseball, meanwhile, is in transition. Its growth will depend on how well it can rebrand itself for new generations. The recent rule changes, things like a pitch clock, are a good start, and a fan response has been positive. If MLB can find a way to thrive in the digital era, it can stabilize even if it doesn't explode in growth. And for hockey, the story is mixed. The NHL's expansion into new markets like Las Vegas and Seattle have been a success, but its overall reach is limited compared to the others. For NHL to grow significantly, it needs to reach beyond traditional regions and invest heavily in youth programs to get more kids on the ice. So, that's where things stand for the Big Four. But now comes the big question. Could another sport break into this? If there's any sport that's threatening to crash the Big Four party, it's soccer. Soccer, or football to the rest of the world, has been on a steady rise in the United States for years, and the numbers back it up. According to participation data, over 14 million Americans play soccer, and that's the number that's been steadily climbing since 2018. Youth soccer is massive, and many of those kids are growing up to be lifelong fans. And viewerships tell the same story. In 2018, around 31 million Americans watched international soccer. Today, that number is over 50 million people, nearly double in just a few years. On the women's side, the NWSL has exploded in popularity, with average attendance surpassing 11,000 fans per match. And in Major League Soccer, new teams like Inter Miami have injected huge excitement, especially after Lionel Messi joined the league. Apple's MLS Season Pass has now over 2 million global subscribers, a record for US soccer. What's more, the demographics are working in soccer's favor. Over half of American soccer fans are under the age of 45, meaning the sport's growth is being driven by younger generations. And with the 2026 World Cup being hosted across in the US, Canada, and Mexico, soccer's biggest global event will be right on American soil, potentially the perfect storm for an explosion in popularity. Still, there is barriers. Soccer has to compete for attention in an already packed sports calendar. Many American fans follow European leagues, like the Premier League or La Liga, more than their local MLS club, which makes it harder for domestic soccer to establish a strong identity. And for some viewers, they still find the lower scoring and the lack of timeouts less exciting compared to the big, flashy plays in football or basketball. But here's the thing. Time is on soccer's side. Each new generation of fans is more global, more online, and more open to the world's game. The growth isn't just happening, it's compounding. If current trends continue, soccer could realistically become a fifth major sport in America within the next 15 to 20 years. And over a longer horizon, say 25 to 30 years, it may even surpass hockey or baseball in overall popularity. And that might sound crazy now, but so did the idea of NBA being a global powerhouse back in the 1980s. So where does that leave us? The Big Four are still firmly in place. Football remains king, basketball continues to rise, baseball is adapting, and hockey holds its loyal base. But changes are coming. The lines between sports, entertainment, and culture are blurring. Younger audiences care less about tradition and more about connection, personality, and global access. Soccer checks all of those boxes. It's international, it's digital, and it's young. And once the 2026 World Cup hits, the momentum could become unstoppable. So maybe in a decade or two, we won't be talking about the Big Four anymore. We'll be talking about the Big Five. Because whether you're a football fan, a basketball junkie, or someone who lives for the World Cup, there is one thing that's clear. The landscape of American sports is changing, and the next generation will decide what comes next. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with your take. Which sport do you think will dominate the next generation of American fans?